Comrades and brothers and sisters in the community, it's obviously a pleasure to be here, and it's great that we're bringing rallies like this into the heart of working class communities. But some of the strikes that are taking place now, of course, are by workers who were at the front line during the pandemic. People like the postal workers, like the rail workers, like the health workers, were all there working during lockdown. And who would have thought just a couple of years on, when we were given plaudits, the government were throwing plaudits at those workers, who would have thought that while they were given plaudits to our school workers, our teachers who kept our kids in education throughout the pandemic, who would have thought that those governments could now not see the worth that they were saying at the time? So it's with great delight that I welcome to the stage Claire Robertson from the Educational Institute of Scotland. Claire.
Hello everyone, thanks so much. How'd you follow that? I'll try my best. So I'm Claire, I'm a Sport for Learning teacher in Wester Hailes. I'm part of the EIS and a part of the Edinburgh Trade Union Council. We're here to celebrate today the opening of this venue to bring trade unions into the heart of our communities. This venture, this facility will signpost young and new members to the right unions, and I believe will be a beacon of hope in these dark times. We're all living through a particularly difficult period of history where working people don't have enough money to fuel their homes, feed their families. And working people are paying the price for years of Tory austerity. And here in Scotland, we have a government which seems content to follow in the Tories' shadow by failing to support those in most need while allowing the rich to get richer, our utilities to remain in private hands, our NHS to be privatised by stealth, and working people to pay the price by being expected to work for wages far below the rate of inflation and the rising cost of living. No one can afford not to be in a union now. We see our comrades from across society standing together to say enough is enough. We will not work for substandard terms and conditions with threats to our health and safety, and for pay which comes nowhere near enough to live on. My union, the EIS, has recently taken industrial action for the first time in nearly 40 years. We withdrew our labour from our classrooms a week past Thursday and closed every school on mainland Scotland. We will hold additional national strike days on the 10th and 11th of January, and then we'll begin 16 days of continuous disruption across Scotland. Be clear, the EIS will strike for as long as we need to until COSLA and the Scottish Government listen to our demands and pay us fairly for the work we do. We delivered our pay claim in good faith in February. In March, we received the derisory offer of 3%. How could we accept that? 6 months later, after attending all the meetings with COSLA, hoping that they would be serious, they offered us 5%. It was rejected through a consultative ballot, 71% of the membership responding, with 96% voting for industrial action. Then, on the eve of our first strike day in nearly 40 years, we received the long-awaited revised pay offer from COSLA. Teachers held their breath. What would it be? Could we avert the strike that none of us wanted to take? COSLA must offer something that we could consider. But no. 10 months after our pay claim, COSLA said the offer was for an undifferentiated 5% increase to annual salary. COSLA proved they don't even understand what undifferentiated means. The unanimous view of the EIS was that this offer was even less acceptable than the previous one, as it represented the same 5% for the majority of members, a lower increase for many members, and even if it at its maximum impact for probationary teachers of 6.85%, a real term pay cut. We rejected this in the most robust terms. Members would not be consulted on this derisory, divisive and insulting offer from COSLA and the Scottish Government, as members had already rejected this 5% offer through the statutory ballot process in September by an overwhelming majority. Teachers' wages have stagnated and reduced since Thatcher took on the EIS in the 80s. We feel that a 10% increase of our pay would go some ways to restoring that reduction of our pay. We are no longer an attractive proposition to graduates and fall far behind our teaching colleagues across the world in terms of pay and condition of service. Our children should be receiving the best education system in the world, and that doesn't come cheap. We're standing strong and want everyone to know that we are supporting our striking colleagues of NASUWT and SSTA as they strike for better pay on Wednesday and Thursday. And we stand in solidarity and united with our colleagues in CWU, GMB and UCU as they continue to stand up to their employers and say, enough is enough. Solidarity from the EIS.
Absolutely brilliant.